quick. We got a lot of people that are joining in, so we're going to give it another minute or so, and maybe not even quite that long, and get things going. As we do that, and we're waiting for people, we will, excuse me, we'll be recording today's session, so just so you know, we're going to be recording it. And if you can, in the questions area, we were just curious as to all of you that are on the phone, if you're selling any type of SaaS, software as a solution type of products, if you could just maybe type in the questions area, you know, the average number of years that you've been selling SaaS, and you know what, and if you look at your client base, what's the average size of client that you're selling SaaS into? That'd be helpful. The panelists have asked me to ask that of you. So if you get the opportunity down in the questions area, go ahead and type that in. And we will be started here in just a few minutes, not even minutes, a few seconds. So just hang on the line, and we'll be right with you.
Okay.
All right, we're going to go ahead and get started. I want to welcome everyone again to, this is our first ever in our Partner Perspective series, you know, on how your peers are doing it. So the people online here today you're going to be talking to and listening to, and then you have an opportunity to ask your peers some questions. So this is the first in the series, and we will be continuing to do those. And as we get started, I got a few pieces I want to take care of up front, a few administrative pieces. So all of you are on mute right now. And we'll probably leave it, there's quite a few of you online today, so we're going to leave the phones on mute so that we can hear everyone clearly, and we go on mute ourselves and as the presenters whenever we're not the ones actually presenting. So everyone is on mute. We will be presenting first, and then we're going to have a question and answer towards the end. So we're going to work through to get the material in about 30 minutes and have 5 to 10 minutes or however many questions that you have in the question and answer boxes and answer those questions for you. If you have questions throughout the webinar, please post them as soon as you think about them. You can click down in your GoToMeeting area where it says questions, and you can type in your questions that you may have. And we'll either, if they're really relevant to the topic that we're discussing at that point in time, we might be able to throw a couple of those in as we proceed forward, and we'll definitely take as many questions as we can towards the end of the presentation. So please throw your questions in. You'll have access also to this recorded event. It's going to be on the YSAS blog, and that's www.ysas.com. So you can take a look at our blog anytime we have other types of events that we've done similar to these with different topics, so you can take a look at what we have online as well as get more information that we have, and we keep blogging out. So we go pretty quickly. If we do go too fast, you know, you can always type in the question thing saying, hey, please slow down just a bit. We have a lot of interesting, fun material to go through. So I also want to talk a little about what our Partner Perspective series is all about, because I still have to be announced here. I forgot to change that. But every third Thursday or Friday, Thursdays and Fridays, we'll be doing the Partner Perspectives. So keep looking out. On August, we already have our guest chosen for August. So, you know, kind of keep your calendar open on the third Friday. We'll make it the third Friday of every month. We'll be doing the Partner Perspective. So you might want to block this time out in your calendar if you enjoy this, and I know you're going to. So block out your calendars. This is a great educational opportunity for you. At the end of the day, you can listen to vendors, you can listen to me, you can listen to other pundits in the marketplace about SaaS, but really this is a great opportunity for you and your other peers. If you got friends out there that are thinking about doing SaaS and they're running companies in different areas than you might want to tell them about this, because you're going to hear right from the horse's mouth on how people and how companies like yours and people like you have adopted and sell, manage, and collect and profit from the SaaS community. So we're going to talk about some tips and tricks and different portions of the business, how it affects your business and how they manage that part of their business. So it's real world actionable knowledge, like I just said. We're going to talk about adopting, selling, managing, and profiting from software as a service solutions. So now I get the opportunity that I do need to talk to. We have some marketing sponsors, and some of you may have seen us out there on these different pieces, but you know, we have Business Solutions is one of our marketing partners, as is Channel Pros, Vertical System Resellers, TMCnet, and Newswire. So they put out a bunch of information, and they have a lot of great information for the channel. They serve the channel very well. So you may want to check them out and make sure that you're getting their content, because they do have a lot of great content for you as well in areas just even outside of SaaS. And now I get to the fun part. We get right into the introductions. And I'm first going to introduce Jamie Lynn, the founder and CEO of Gizmo Global in California. Jamie, you want to say hi and maybe a little bit of information about you and your company?
Hi, yeah, my name is Jamie Lynn, and our company does, will come in and set strategy for small businesses. It's all SaaS strategy. We'll help them define everything from email through their CRM, through their business intelligence, custom apps if they have custom apps, whatever they need to set their overall strategy. So we help them set that strategy and implement that strategy using SaaS apps.
Thanks, Jamie. And our next guest is Michael Riches, and he's the founder and owner of BuckeyPOS, BuckeyPOS, and part owner in Solution Pronto, and he's based out of Columbus, Ohio. Michael, do you want to introduce yourself and your company just a bit?
Yes. Hello, everyone. I'm Michael Riches, and just want to say good job to you guys for taking time out of your day and getting on this call. It's one of the first steps you can take is to do things to better improve yourself and your business. And SaaSMAX is really cool. I wish I would have known about them years ago. So, but I mainly focus in bar and restaurant, point of sale, and all the verticals that can, all the different things that can go along with that, from merchant services, direct TV, and cable phone and internet.
Great, thanks. And I'm Clint Gatewood. I'm the Vice President of Reseller of Channel Development. And we also have on the phone with us today, fortunate that she can make some time, and she loves making time for the resellers, so she always comes on these things, is Dina Moskowitz, our CEO. Do you want to say hello real quick, Dina?
Sure. Yeah, hi, everyone. And I wanted to just personally thank Jamie and Michael for contributing their insights to this event. And I think it's going to be a great agenda and conversation now. And so without me getting in the way, please continue.
Great, thank you. So we're going to jump right into the questions. And the way we're presenting the material today is we're just posing questions to our panelists, but also for the audience. And these are some of the biggest questions in working in SaaSMAX and working with partners for the last 15 years in and around these types of products. I get a lot of questions, and a lot of them seem to be have a theme. So we're going to start off with Jamie. I'm going to ask this question here. What are the biggest problems you face with support from your SaaS vendors? There's a lot of concern out there in the marketplace about, it's my company and someone else can be doing some of the support, or how do I provide the support? Do you want to talk about how you've faced this challenge in the marketplace?
Sure. We have two problems with our SaaS providers. We almost always provide first-tier support, and most of the time we can solve it. One of the big problems is we can solve the short-term problem, but when we call into our SaaS providers, the level of support's not there. So we get bumped into a CSR, the customer or call center rep, that will just be have less knowledge than anybody on our team. So that's very frustrating. We don't always get to that level 2, or a lot of SaaS providers don't have a level 2 support. So it's a backdoor of somebody that at that SaaS provider to help you. So that's always frustrating. The other part is they don't have the tools to help you do that support. So lots of times I'll have a client call in, and we have to have a separate entry into their systems. Like Google Apps does a great job of being able to get into an admin panel of one of your clients, and it would be nice to have SaaS providers look at that standard and be able to get into your client data without having a different password or some way, a different license for you to get in and access that data. So those are the two problems that we see.
Great. And Michael, what's your experience with this, and how have you overcome those challenges?
I totally agree with Jamie. I had to learn kind of the hard way, and I wish I had known this early on as well, that I kind of had a false sense of security that there was this 800 number that could support them, support my clients, but it's not at the level that that's up to my standards. So my question to you guys is, would you rather call an 800 number or a person that you know? So I give my clients, I have a Ring Central phone number. It's set up to, ring to whoever, ring to me as I need it, and they get, directly a hold of me. So I know I can help them faster and better, and they just want somebody to pick up the phone, and half the time it it's 2 minutes or less. It takes so little time. They'd be on hold longer than I can give them a quick answer.
Right. It seems like both of you are taking kind of a similar approach there. From the support. I think, Jamie, whenever you're doing the support as well, that you're providing a lot of the first level support and then being the interface between your SaaS vendor and level 2 support. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's exactly what we do. Same thing. Like, they'd much rather call us and get the problem solved quickly than have to call in and set on hold. And I mean, setting on hold, just verifying your account can take forever. So that's very frustrating, right? So
insofar as that particular piece, then, as you're providing that support to your clients, and I think we had this a little bit later, but you're putting together support packages to help cover the cost for that for the different services that you do.
We are. We're starting to find our team actually outsources it and white labels it. So they still think that they're calling a Gizmo Global person, but we've outsourced the actual help desk if they need ongoing help desk that's a little more cost effective than calling our team. So that's one of the ways we give them options. If you really want to call into help desk, here's one that can do a great level 2 support that we've trained. They know how we work. Or you can call us if you want quicker help, but that will cost you more. So those are the ways we handle the costs associated with that.
And do you kind of follow the same path with that, Michael?
I wish I did. I could probably learn something from Jamie there. I mean, all my customers pretty much call me and I pick up. So it's I do that instead of knock on doors. So my phone just rings with referrals because I'd rather spend that time kind of servicing my customers, and that's kind of my marketing, if you will, is taking all those calls.
Right, exactly. You don't sell them a separate service around that. You just do it, and it's included within the work that you do for them. Correct,
and it's real important to I guess define the line of what I will support. Because, a lot of people assume they just, they want it now, faster, cheaper, and free. So, with the product, they tend to assume that I support everything when, I don't make the printer, I don't make the app, I don't make, I sell iPad, point of sale, I don't make the iPad, so I don't make the stand or the card reader. So, but they bought it all from me. So it's kind of important to, in the beginning, define the line of here's what I do support. The menu programming, the training, the functionality. And so defining that line helps a lot with what I support, because if the product that you sell them isn't working, they just want it fixed. They don't think in terms of, well, he didn't provide, he doesn't make the iPad.
Exactly.
I think Michael brings up a good point, just having a process in place, especially for some of my bigger clients where you have 50, 100 employees, just a process for those employees to call in someplace and get their problem answered. It can't always be, you or somebody on your team. So that's part of the reason I've gone to outsourcing and making sure that we're clear on that process after we do a SaaS implementation, where people go for help and how they communicate that out through their organization.
Great. It's all about the process and taking care of your clients as long as you know what you're faced with and the issues that you're faced with any vendor you have, and you're mitigating those issues. And that's what you have to do. It doesn't matter if the vendor's a SaaS vendor or a hardware vendor or any other type of vendor that you might use. You're going to have to make sure your clients are being taken care of. So if you have any questions on this topic, go ahead and type those in. And don't forget to type your questions in as we go and make sure you're asking your questions. And with that, I have my second question for our panelists here today. Can a reseller advisor truly be SaaS agnostic? I mean, can you really go out to your clients and not have certain preferences that you have and be agnostic whenever you're talking to them, like if you're acting as their CIO or you're recommending what they should do in their business? Can you be agnostic? And Michael, I'll start with you on this.
Okay, thanks, Clint. Well, it's a good question. I definitely focus on my customers, and I think this one also depends on what part of your SaaS journey you're in. When I first started out, I had a toothpick and I was at a buffet and I just sampled everything. I tried everything just a little bit, and then I found the products that I liked, and now I I don't try many products. I just focus on a couple. And I think that's an asset, is to, better to be a specialist, instead of a jack of all trades and a master of none.
Sure, absolutely. And Jamie, how do you approach this piece, and how do you feel about being agnostic to the products that your clients are using?
Well, I love Michael's example, because that's exactly, I would agree, it's where you are in your SaaS journey, because that's exactly the way I started out too, where I tried a lot of different things. And even now I want to be agnostic. It depends on the client, where they are, and what legacy systems they have in place. So I have to walk a fine line, but I totally agree with Michael. Like I've tried a lot out there. I've already figured out what I think is a good product and what isn't. And so when my clients come to me, I hope that they accept that trust. Like I've already tried, there's 300 CRM products out there. I have my favorites. And there's new ones popping up every day. And I do try to look at trends, or if I see a CRM that keeps popping up, we'll definitely look at it. But I have the ones that I like and stick with for sure.
Sure, exactly.
Can I add something there?
Yeah, go ahead, Michael. Yep.
I was just going to say that it's important. I found early on it was important to focus on, if most people on the call have a sales background, it's important to focus on your customers and your existing relationships. And what I did was I found the SaaS that fit into that, so I didn't have to go get a new customer base necessarily. I could kind of settle those existing customers, and found the SaaS that was, the most profitable and the best fit for that. Thanks.
Sure. Now, in being agnostic, though, I mean, the reality is you're not really agnostic to the technology and the SaaS that you're choosing. It would seem to me in our conversations I've had with both of you before that you're selecting products, and you might select maybe 2 products in the category that you might to service because of the support that goes along with that. So what do you do with clients that say, no, I have to have this product, or do you just pick that product up and sell it? And how do you handle those issues within being agnostic?
Well, so I'll answer that, because so I deal with financial services a lot, and there's a lot of CRMs that are very, very specific. So one of my clients is a hedge fund, and that CRM was very specific. So my standard CRMs that I sell would not fit into that model. But there's certain things I'm always looking for in a CRM. How well does it integrate with email? How well does it integrate with your documents or other things like that? So we did do an evaluation of a couple very specific, vertical CRMs, and because I had that background of what I'm looking for in a CRM, we went with a tool that I wasn't familiar with, a CRM I hadn't sold before or hadn't worked with before, but because you're so used to working with CRMs, you could look for those basic things. So that certainly happens on occasion, and it does help you if you're taking your SaaS practice in a vertical way. You'll know what vertical products out there are good and which ones aren't.
Sure, Michael. Anything to add that part? Because it would seem to me that in talking to both of you, you have your stable products, and you really don't like to vary from them unless you find something that might be better and greater in it. You can move most of your clients to, instead of sticking with something like legacy. So you're having some type of standard that you have that a client has to meet before you'll actually take them on. Unless I'm misunderstanding that.
The only thing I have to add is I look at it as I do iPad point of sale, and there's a lot of different apps that can meet people's needs. And just the other day, it's kind of a very specific example, but I had a client who was using one that I'm not very familiar with, but because it's iPad based and a lot of these apps, people have a very do-it-yourself mentality. So I just showed up, and basically I knew what pieces of hardware were. I could tell what a router and a switch and this was, and a printer, and I just plug it all up for them and build them for a couple hours and left. So you kind of just never know.
Right, exactly. So Well, fantastic. Let's move on to question number 3, and this is also a good one. And Jamie, I think we'll go back to you on this. Is what have you experienced as the best business model when it comes to price between you and your client? You know, is it flat monthly fee versus project based, or is there some other way that you handle that?
So we do a combination of both, and it really depends on what the client wants. My preference is, and especially as we go to the SaaS model, a lot of these small firms are trying to get rid of their IT staff, but of course you can't get rid of them in whole. So what we like to do is give them a flat monthly fee to manage all of their IT problems, and we put, you know, like for 10 hours per month or 10 hours per week. You know, we'll charge you this fee to manage all of your IT projects and problems that come up and give you that overall strategy. So we do that a lot. So that would be our flat fee model. I have seen some practices that add it on top of, they'll have a grouping of packages, like here's your email, your CRM, your accounting, your time process, the time tracking, here's the flat fee per user per month. So they do it, they take that SaaS to the next level. But then also when you're doing big migrations or moving data around or big implementation, we do those on a project basis because it's unusual for the client to do that. So we do a combination of both flat fee and project based.
Okay, and Michael?
It's a good question. It's a real good question. I just know what I do. I'm not trying to give anybody exact advice, but for me, you know, residual income, consistent income, that sounds great. That's good, but it also means residual work and support and things that you know, if they're paying you monthly, they're expecting something for it, so you have to deliver that. Mine is a very one-time, upfront. I do all the heavy lifting to set things up, and I would say I charge not the cheapest price to do that. It's a very good, fair price, but based on my experience level, I guarantee my results. If I set it up, I'm going to support it, and it's not going to require a lot of support. And I've discovered that through trial and error, but I don't have any of my customers paying me a residual fee to answer the phone once or twice a month and help them out with a problem. And another little part of that I do is I try and, because they are tech savvy, I try and train them to do the things that, that they can continue. I'll do all the heavy lifting and then pass them the baton, and they'll finish the race. They'll know how to do the menu programming or the little things like that.
Yeah, I think that's an important point. Definitely, when we do, especially large implementations, it's always best for them to have somebody on staff that, just like onboarding, right, that somebody knows how to, every time they have a new employee, they know how to make sure that all those employees get set up properly on all of their applications. So training somebody there to just do the basics, it helps a lot. And it does cut down on your support calls a lot. I always want to have an expert on site that everybody can go to.
And just to add to that too, I like what you said there, is that it's so much easier to support them once you have properly trained them. Because some of these do-it-yourselfers, they want to set it up themselves, and then they want me to come in there and fix it, but essentially they've programmed it themselves to start with, and it's not how I would have done it, so I can't support them as much. So it's also really important to kind of clarify that line of what you can support.
Yeah, I would agree. That's a huge problem. If you have somebody that's already been a do-it-yourselfer, and I have had some big problems from do-it-yourselfers to have to come in and clean it up because it's not supportable the way they would have structured it. And then like 6 months down the road, they did something that will still pop up, because it's amazing how much they can send things awry in a short amount of time. So I do agree with that. It's very hard to support the do-it-yourselfers. I tend to stay away from some of those clients unless they let me come in and do a reconfiguration of something that's easier to support.
And can I add one more thing there, Clint?
Yeah, go right ahead. This is a big topic. We get a lot of questions around billing right now. So,
well, yeah, and I want something. A person I met very early on when I was starting, he told me this, and it's stuck with me ever since. And it relates just to what Jamie was saying, is that what we do is easy. You know, what I go in there and fix doesn't take a lot of time, and it also doesn't take a lot of time for them to screw it up. So I don't get paid for what I do, because what I do is super easy. I get paid for what I know. And it's all those years.
That's a great point, right? Because you already know if they do one thing, what will happen downstream if it's done incorrectly. So yeah, that's a great point.
Excellent, excellent. Yeah, so we do have a lot of questions on the billing piece, and we are going to answer most all your questions that you type in. And please keep typing them in. We're not ignoring them. But there's the question number 4 really kind of rolls into, you know, what's that relationship between you and your client when it comes to your pricing, and what are you charging them for? And that 4th question is, what have you experienced as the best business model when it comes to compensation between you and your vendor? I mean, how is it that you get paid? And in talking about that, there's really 3 terms that I've seen used quite a bit within the whole SaaS and sometimes in other places, but especially in the SaaS market. You know, you have wholesale, commission, and affiliate, where wholesale is where you're really still owning the entire relationship and a billing relationship with the client, where you as the reseller are billed for all the licenses your clients are consuming. You are personally being billed for it, and you pay the vendor for all those for all those licenses, and then you wrap it into your services and you bill what you want to the client for that software and for the services on a monthly basis. A commission model, it can be somewhat a cross between a wholesale model and an affiliate model, where the billing relationship in SaaS mostly, whenever a SaaS vendor is talking to you about commission, is that the billing relationship still will happen between the SaaS company and the end client himself. But you are adding, as the solution provider, you're adding a lot more value add in the services you're offering, in the implementation of the product, the integration of the product. So you're much more of a reseller, if you will, or an authorized solution provider that gets a commission from the vendor for all the licensing you've done, and you continue to do work and continue touch points with the client to make sure the client renews at the end of the year. And then you have a lot of companies also do an affiliate program. So a lot of the SaaS vendors provide an affiliate program where it's much more of just a referral program. And those can vary to, you know, it's a one-time payment for referring a client to the SaaS vendor, and the SaaS vendor helps you or actually does the entire sales process and closes the business and gets the client installed, and you don't have a lot more to do with that particular client from that standpoint. And sometimes they give you a one-time payment. It may be a small percentage every month, and they may or may not, depending on how many more sales you do in the future, give you a check whenever the client renews. So we have 3 different models, really, is the wholesale model, commission model, and the affiliate model. So with that said, Michael, what do you think? I mean, what do you think is the best model for billing and compensation between you and your vendor?
I loved Jamie's answer from yesterday in the review. Would you want to go first and say it?
Go ahead, Jamie.
Well, I have a blend. Yeah, I don't remember exactly what my answer was yesterday, but yeah, I have a blend of wholesale and commission. But to be quite honest, wholesale is so hard to manage. Like, it's a whole other. I have to have an accounting person to track all that, to make sure we're doing everything. And my clients already have that blend. You're never going to get to a pure wholesale, I think, model, if that's what you're going for. So I don't think my clients look at that relationship as breaking. You know, as if I'm not billing it, they're not going to me. So I much more prefer the commission model. I don't really use the affiliate model that much. But the commission model is just much easier on a billing basis for me, for sure.
Michael?
Yeah. What Jamie said yesterday, one of the first words. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. What Jamie said yesterday was one of the first words out of her mouth was that the commission, the money part doesn't matter, you know, and that kind of, I remember that. It's like, you know, you finding the right clients and the right products and matching those up, and you know, you're going to get paid. You're going to get paid something, and then the more clients that you can get within a particular SaaS, that will give you the leverage to get more, because there's not a whole lot you can change about those. I've found. Does that make sense?
Sure, sure. And I think when it comes down, as we discussed yesterday, I think it comes down to there's a lot of fear in the marketplace, I think, especially from the solution provider and from your peers' perspective, that if I don't own the billing relationship, I don't own the client. I'm giving up a huge portion of why the client relies on me, because they see my name on the bill and they're paying me. They're not seeing an extraneous third party, and they just think that they can cut me out of the deal. Where what I heard both of you saying yesterday is that's just not true. Because the clients rely on you.
Yes, yes. That is a good thing. If they manage all the billing and you want to control that, I mean, I don't want to control it. I just want to get paid. I mean, you know, every time somebody changes a credit card number, I mean, I don't have to worry about any of that. If they don't have an on file, an active credit card on file, their POS system doesn't work. So, and then I don't. It's just built in, so I don't have to worry about that, and the money just shows up. That's my feeling.
Yeah, that's a great, and you can create an AR problem. It doesn't happen to me often, but every once in a while, if they're not paying you timely, it's a problem. So the commission structure is much easier. The other thing that I do, that I argue, as all of these small businesses are getting away from that true kind of CIO position that managed hardware and people to manage that hardware, the new CIO role is actually vendor management. And this ties into it. Like, how are they managing all of their data from point to point and those renewals that are coming up? Because if you're going to change your CRM, you need at least a good 6 months to move that, you know, plan that out and plan that move and everything like that. Well, you want to know when your annual contract is up on that CRM contract, so you have time to plan that out. So I certainly don't want to be responsible for that, but I do want to advise my clients, like, if you're not happy, or especially with legacy systems, you're seeing some of these CRMs sunsetted where they're not even being supported, so, but they're still paying that fee. And so I don't want to be responsible for all the complexities of that. You definitely want your client to own that, but you want to advise your client that that is a key role of the new SaaS world, right? Or these annual or monthly fees, and what it takes to, if you want to change, what that change involves. So I think vendor management is a big problem or a new role, I shouldn't say a big problem, a new role for the CIO position that used to exist.
Nancy, this is Dina. I wanted to ask you as well, when you're receiving the commissions and you're not doing an affiliate type of click-through, are you doing a deal registration through that vendor's portal, or what is the ways that you're communicating that you own the customer and earn the commission?
Yeah, I always have that. Most of the SaaS providers have some type of contract that you sign up for. Most of them are automatic. Like, you just put your domain name in, and then the people that, you know, the domain name of the client that you're registering. That's how it works from a practical point of view.
Great, and I love how you put that. You know, the CIO's role is changing from that perspective as hardware moves more and more into the cloud, and there's a little bit less what to manage. It's still definitely a pain point out there, but the new pain point really is the vendor management, and I loved how you put that. And I think, you know, part of this as well is when you look at who owns the billing relationship, I think people get worried about losing their brand in that, and it doesn't seem like either of you are really worried about your brand when it comes to that perspective. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm certainly not, because there's so many complexities around it that I'm certainly not worried about that. I'm more worried about advising my client the best way to manage those complexities, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I agree that, you know, the product might say one thing in the little icon in the app that they're using, but I'm the face that's there. And some of my clients, are we going on to the next question yet?
We are real soon here, but
okay.
yeah, there's one real. Go ahead and finish up what you're saying, and then there's one really good question that was just put in on this particular subject that I do want to ask here. So go ahead.
What I'm going to say is going to be my answer to the next question, so I'll just hold but I'll hold
No, I mean
off.
there's a panelist question I want to ask. I mean,
yeah.
there's a question here. So one of the attendees has said, you know, his problem with commission-based payments is lack of visibility. You know, that he has on his revenue stream. You know, how do you handle, you know, your lack of visibility across your vendors?
I just took a deep breath too.
Well, you kind of, I mean, you already know, like, it's pretty basic. Like, you already know how many users you're supporting on a certain product. Like, I'm pretty clear. I mean, all my users are 250 or less, and you pretty much see which users are on which products. Like, that isn't as much of a problem for me, I don't think. Michael, do you have that problem? The visibility to that problem?
So I guess I'm going to have to answer the next. I'll use my answer for this part. So when I, you know, implement my product, whatever it is, I brand it with my name. So in a couple cases, if it's, you know, phones or point of sale systems or computers or printers or things, I went down to a local print shop and I got stickers and all kind of different things. So I put, you know, these subtle little, I copied what Micros and Aloha or, you know, other companies do. You can see their logo on it. So I put my logo everywhere. So that visibility is more important to me than the name next to the credit card that's getting charged on their statement.
Sure, exactly. And it does kind of tie into question number 5, but, you know, I think maybe in question and answer we'll revisit this question just a bit more. You know, whether you're using spreadsheets to track your licenses, or you kind of rely on the vendor to be honest about it, or is, you know, I'm trying to think of what the process is that you say you kind of know, but what does that mean? And I think that leaves a big gray area there.
There's a little bit of spreadsheets, but I try to I try to manage that. Yeah, I set up my vendor management like I do for my clients. The same thing I do through my CRM and report on it that way is how I manage it.
Yeah, and I mean, the companies that I work with, they send me a monthly statement of all the activity, so I can see everything that's going on.
So you just kind of cross-reference that with your client base and saying, yep, that's right, or no, that's not right, and you go back to them. So basically you set aside an hour or two or whatever it is at the end of the month to look at all your statements from your vendors, and you tie it up with your base, and that's how you do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and to me that's much easier than the wholesale of the billing, and you don't have that accounts receivable exposure.
Excellent, excellent. So, Michael, I think you kind of answered this, and we'll have you say it over again or rephrase it a bit, but are you marketing your business around the SaaS that you're selling, or is the SaaS brand secondary to your own? Again, we kind of addressed this as a bit. I kind of jumped ahead a little bit in that last slide, but again, there's still a big concern about, you know, if I'm losing that stream and I'm selling someone else's product, am I losing my own brand in the mix? So, Michael, I'm gonna go back to you on that, Michael.
It's really up to you. It's your decision of how you want to brand it, and I choose to take the extra time to just brand the heck out of myself. And it's funny, I hear all around town companies referring to their point of sale not by the vendor that they pay it to, but to the name that I've put on it. And it's a big compliment, and it didn't just happen by accident. So, and that when they think of that name and they Google that name, my website comes up. So hopefully that answers the question.
Yeah, Jamie?
Yeah. I mean, SaaS changes quickly. So we certainly want to brand ourselves as an expert in SaaS and helping our clients identify that. But we're definitely not branding our company around the SaaS products that we sell, for sure.
And a lot of that's probably come down to how you position yourself as managing all those vendors there and becoming that new SaaS world CIO.
Correct. Yeah, that's definitely how we market ourselves. I'll come in and say we're an interim CIO or a part-time CIO, depending on where they are in the life cycle of the client's, the life cycle of their business.
It really just comes down to how you've always done it, whether you were selling SaaS or not. It's, your brand is only important as if you're standing up behind your brand and you're propping it up. And if you're the one that's propping it, and you're the one.
Absolutely. I founded my company in 2001, long before SaaS was a thing. So we went from selling, our expertise on, the regular products, the client server products over to SaaS products. So that's definitely how we migrated our business for sure.
And I think from everything that you've said, Michael, you're the same way. I mean, your brand is you. It's how you and your staff handle your clients, and it's not so much about that check that they write every month.
Yeah, and Jamie said it perfect. I just kind of agree with everything she said there.
So we won't have a debate on that then. So excellent. So
and just to reiterate what she said, what was really important, I hope everybody heard it, is that since the apps or the SaaS does change, my brand doesn't. So if there's another newer, better, cooler version or company that does the same thing, it's my job to be up to date and aware. Well, that's what SaaSMAX does a real good job of. They do the research for all that, but as the clients look to that company, that's my job, is to provide whatever whatever SaaS is the best for them.
Right. So basically, you're saying the same thing that people that your peers that may own the building relationship are saying, is that the client itself doesn't really care about the SaaS that you're providing them. They'll move if you tell them to move, because you're still their trusted advisor, whether or not you're the one with the name on the invoice or the vendor is. They'll pay whoever you want them to pay, as long as you're taking care of them.
That's absolutely how we work for.
Yeah, great. That is our last question of the day, and we're going to go to question and answer here real soon, and we'll answer your questions. If you have more questions while I'm going through the next slide, please type them in. We're going to get to some of these questions and clarify some of them. We are going to be doing...
Excuse me,
yeah,
Clint.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I had one other thing that I forgot to mention about branding. This has been the single most successful, greatest thing that I've done, and it is so simple. Please don't laugh, because I can hear you. No, I can't. I have business card magnets, and in restaurants, there's always something to stick a magnet to, and I have my magnets all over every restaurant, and I can't tell you how many people say they've seen my magnets, or it just has my phone number there and my email and everything, and they're able to get a hold of me real quick. But it has been so important. If you've got a business name, get magnets made. It is so important to what I do.
Yeah, it probably works out really, really well for you, because you got other restaurant owners going to the competition to taste and see what kind of service and food that they have, and why they're doing maybe better on a particular product set, and then they're seeing your name there, or they're just visiting a buddy who owns a restaurant and they see your name and they give you a call.
Right. I don't need a billboard or an online ad. I've got ads in businesses all over town that tens of thousands of people see every week.
Clint, did we lose you?
I'm sorry. I said, yeah, we're going to move on to the next one. I also had myself on mute and just talked for a while there. But I'd be remiss if I didn't talk a little bit about what we do on that point that Michael brought up on how we're helping him select SaaS apps much faster and keeping on top of the market. Is we do help our solution providers find the right SaaS apps. We help you earn revenues faster and get to market quicker. We work with all of our vendors to provide some type of special offers, incentives, and free trials and just making sure that the vendors that we bring into our community, and there's over 180 of them today across most any spectrum you can think of, different CRMs and POS systems and that we've been talking about mostly here today, but everything from RMM solutions to backup to you can think of it. We probably have a vendor there that can help you out a lot in the email encryption area. So And we work with the vendors that are not just fly-by-night. You may not have heard of some of them, but we've definitely vetted them, and we've made sure that they have a good client base, that they've got good materials for you, that they're going to articulate their positions to you quickly so you can make a decision. And we work with them to make sure that, we try and highly encourage our vendors to help match you up with buyers in a particular area that they have, and to help you move along and to learn their products. Our engagement team is, we kind of look at ourselves as the Match.com for the SaaS community, where whenever you go to register, if you're not a partner today, you register on our website and make sure your profile information is updated. We make sure the vendors do the same. And then we have some algorithms that match you up with vendors that are specifically for what you're looking for in your business model. They match your business model. So, there's a couple of you say, well, I like to only do wholesale. Well, you can put that in your profile, and we'll only match you with those vendors. We also try and hand view them as well. There's a few things you might get if you don't have a wholesale, but we try and match you up with wholesale vendors or commission vendors or affiliate vendors, because there are times that you may want to use an affiliate vendor. Especially if you have a client that's asking for a product that you don't sell, you don't want to support, you don't want to build out that expertise in supporting it all, then you may want to go to a vendor on an affiliate model where they will provide all that and still cut you a check. So there are reasons why you might want to use affiliate model, even if you prefer the wholesale or the commission model. But we actually engage and match you up on a monthly basis with 1-2 vendors, and if you want to be matched up with more, we do. I also like to, you can always call me and my team and tell us about your business and tell us about what you are looking for, and if we don't have something in SaaSMAX, we'll go out and we'll find it. We're doing a lot more education engagement with our partners, live and recorded webinars on our Wise SaaS blog. So we're doing a lot to help you understand this marketplace, understand how people are and your peers are adopting and selling and managing these solutions, and help you stay on top of who's who. Bottom line is we're going to save you a lot of time, because most of you are small businesses yourselves, and many of you are wearing the major hats within your organization. You are the CEO, you are the president, you are your sales guy, and in many cases you end up being a billable resource as well. So you have a lot of hats that you're wearing, and you're working a lot of hours for the money that you make, and to field calls from hundreds and hundreds of vendors and go out and say, I want a CRM, what one should I use? You type in CRM, and what are you going to get? You're going to get 100 different companies or more. And then you got to start vetting them. And you got to read each website and figure out which one matches your client base and which verticals they support. We do a lot of that for you. So we save you a lot of time in that upfront process, which decreases your time to revenue realization. So by the time you decide you need to add a product or your client wants one, to the time that you can actually deliver it and start making money from it, we really cut that down. So with that said, and this is a chance to ask your questions. Again, ask your questions, and we're going to start going through the questions. And don't worry, ask anything you want to ask these folks. They've been there, they've done it, they're doing it well today. And in my mind, the only stupid question one that goes unanswered because, well, you didn't ask it. And I guarantee you, if you think you got a stupid question, you're going to ask it. The guy listening on the phone beside you is thinking the same thing. So ask any question you want to. So on one part, and Michael, Jamie, whoever wants to jump in on this one, jump in on it. Are you charging for support separately around some of your apps, all of your apps? Is it all inclusive with the app cost? I think that we weren't 100% clear on that particular piece. And Jamie, I know that you're starting to put together packages that the client pays for the SaaS, but they also pay you additionally for level 1, level 2 support. And I know, Michael, you had said yesterday when we were talking that you had something to learn from Jamie on that, and maybe you should start doing that. So I think, Jamie, maybe you want to jump in on this one first, and then Michael follow up.
Sure. Yeah, it depends on how the client is structured. So if my client is on an ongoing, monthly fee, of course, support is included in that. But if we will go in and do like a migration or an implementation, we include support. We really focus on training a super user before we leave, and we'll include support in part of that. Like they have so many hours of support after that implementation. But if they want support after we've implemented, I just had a client this last month that had a big problem, and we spent 10 hours supporting them. So we did bill that on an hourly basis. Other clients is we go in and implement, and if they're looking for a less expensive solution because they don't know if they're going to have an hourly fee and they want to be able to estimate what their support is, and they have a lot of users. That's where we started white labeling our support with a back-end support desk, and that tends to be like $70 per user per month kind of pricing. So that lets them determine. It depends. It depends on what the my support people want and how much support they want. Like if they just want one app, it may be $10 per user per month or something like that. So the price is kind of all over, but we let them choose because it gets sticky really fast. If you spend 10 hours solving a problem for them, you certainly want to get paid for that.
Michael, did you want to follow on with that? Because I know you pretty much just including.
Yep. Yes, definitely. I was coming to you live and direct from a gas station parking lot somewhere in Kentucky, and I'm now on the road and no longer in control of the cell coverage. So if it gets choppy, just mute me and I'll come back.
Sure.
But I totally agree with everything that Jamie said. Perfect. And the first words out of her mouth was, "It depends on what the client wants." And I just really don't look at myself as a sale. I can't sell them these packages, but I've found myself in a position where I started off with one location of this customer, and now he's got, I think, 6 or 7. So for that client, it kind of makes sense for me to come up with some kind of a monthly. He just wants peace of mind, and he knows he might have to have a fixed monthly amount, but I don't try and sell some of my smaller customers this $100 a month tech support package when they really don't need it. And
right.
Another thing Jamie said was, but there are these clients, they do come into a situation where, I've been there for 10 hours. That's where I just was. I was in a restaurant in Kentucky, and do you think they're going to close during the day to let me work on their networking? No, I had to do it overnight from 10 p.m. till 8 one morning and 10 p.m. till 8 the next morning, and that was all billable. So yeah.
Yeah, so you are charging for some of your support then too. It's not, you might not have a package that you do on a monthly basis like Jamie's doing, but you are billing for that extra work. You are billing for those support hours, like in a time and material type of manner.
Correct. And I just I kind of have a little rule. If it's 5 or 10 or 15 minutes, I'm not going to send my client a bill for that. But once it gets over that, we were talking. I haven't set this in stone, but it also doesn't make sense to charge them a large amount. The number that came into my head was like, well, after a certain number of time, it's just $2 a minute, and that
right.
Kind of seems fair.
Yeah, and I apologize for not turning off my LinkedIn, folks. You're seeing some of the stuff come in from that. I apologize. No, great question, and we have a few minutes left on this whole thing, and I'm sure that and the panelists can confirm, but I'm sure a couple of you out there want to know more about what vendors they're actually using, and we don't mind if I never told them they could or couldn't mention the vendors that they're using today, and if they want to tell you some of the ones that they're using, like the POS system and the CRM specifically, everyone's been asking about that. I don't have a problem with them telling you that, and I'm sure some of them be respectful of their time, but yet I know Michael and Jamie both like to talk to other solution providers, and they like to talk to their peers too to learn something. So I'm sure, if you shoot me an email, I'm sure that they wouldn't mind setting up a time to talk when they have time as well. Is that okay, Jamie and Michael?
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, I'd love to talk to other resellers out there.
Okay, great. And then another question here that was posed early on is, how do you go about selecting vendors to include in your solutions?
For me, it's just what works. Like, I really look for vendors that, what I say, play well in the sandbox with others, especially in the SaaS world, right? I'm looking for, like, CRM is a great example. If you're asking what CRMs I like out there, Insightly is a CRM that I like because it plays well in the sandbox with others. It's easy to use from the email. If you have your, either Office 365 or Google Apps, they have great gadgets. You can do a lot from the email. It works well with Dropbox, OneDrive, Google Drive. So what that means is then the client doesn't have to have an Insightly license to be able to see some of the documents that you would put in your CRM. And then it integrates well with QuickBooks, and they're working on Xero. So I'm always looking for an application that you can look at data from other applications, especially in CRM. So it integrates well. Is probably my number one thing. My number two thing. My number one thing is to make sure that they're a big enough player that you don't have to worry about your customers' data being there in case they go out of business or something. So those are probably my two key things that I look for.
And Michael, on that?
I'm a bit of a risk taker, so I find SaaS and I just go try it and implement it somewhere, because you can read all you want, you can do all the demos, you can you try and do all the due diligence, but until you put a product live, you just don't know. So I just try different ones, and I find clients who want to use them, and then I know at that point I'm using it as, I'm not going to make as much money, if you will. I'm not there to make money, I'm there to learn about the product. And then once I get good at that product, then I can make more money and do it faster.
Great. And neither one of you said first right off the bat that SaaSMAX is where I find my apps.
Well, of course. I mean, that's what you guys do.
So time for one more question, and I wanted to make time for this one. How do you track your customer satisfaction?
I actually will send a survey.
I need to do a better job of that.
Yeah, I'll send a survey at the end of an implementation, and sometimes implementations are hard, right? Because you have a bunch of change management going on. So you're always like, is it a good time to send a survey? But I do send a survey at the end of my implementations, and then I always ask for referrals as well if it's a client that I've worked with for a long time, if they'll give me a referral.
Great, excellent. And Michael, you just said you need to do a better job of it. So I guess we leave it at that for the moment.
Well,
next session.
Well, I was thinking about that. I try and be in constant contact with my clients and visit them. Fortunately, a lot of them are bars and restaurants, so I can just go out to eat and essentially be working. But I just try and stay in contact with them, and they'll let you know, and just try and be in constant contact to know what they need.
Yeah. So my question to you is, looking at your photos, Michael, with who you service, how do you stay so thin?
I have no idea.
Because I'd be weighing 400 pounds by now if all that free food are thrown at you and everything. So
I had a half-pound burger yesterday.
Exactly. I do want to thank everyone for attending. We are coming up on our time here. Hey, SaaSMAX is free to all the solution providers. If you're not already a solution provider on the call today, and some of you are and some of you aren't, and some of you that are a solution provider, I haven't had an opportunity here to really talk to many of you as much as I would like. So my contact information is here. Feel free to call me if you're looking for an app, if you need some help with our system and how to find things and where things are located. Feel free to give me a call anytime. Like you, I am extremely busy, and I try to pick up my phone, but most times it does go to email. I do apologize, or voicemail. I do apologize for that. But give me a call. This is my email address. So feel free to shoot me an email address if you want to talk with Michael or Jamie or Dina or myself. Shoot me an email, and I can make those introductions for you, and you can arrange a time with them to talk. If you're not already a SaaSMAX solution provider, don't wait. We really are helping. We've got 25,000 solution providers and consultants, and you're not just IT companies out of here. You're just a consultant in a consulting firm, a single firm, or you have different people in there. We span the gamut of what we call our solution providers. So to register, you simply go to our homepage, which is SaaSMAX.com, and I should have put that URL up here, but it's in my email address. It's SaaSMAX.com. In the upper right-hand corner, you select the register button and fill out the information, and away we go. And my team will be in touch with you to learn about your business. So.
And Clint, this is Dina. I just want to remind you that we're going to be sending a survey out to everyone. It should pop up on the screen at the end of this, or it'll come in the email follow-up. And if you wouldn't mind taking 2 to 3 minutes to respond, it will give us some more information about you and what other things you may want to learn about in SaaSMAX. But also, we're productizing some new features and functionality, and we want to have your take on on those and whether or not we may be solving your problems. Of course, we think we will, but having a filled out survey, which really is only about 10 questions and very simple multiple choice, we'd appreciate if you take the time to do it. So great.
And I appreciate it. Appreciate your time, Dina, in supporting this event. And Jamie, Michael, I really appreciate your time. I know you're very busy folks, and I know that there's going to be a couple people on here with the amount of questions that they still have that will be probably in touch with me and eventually at some point to you. We just had a question about, what are the type of questions that you ask in your survey, and unfortunately we are out of time. And but we can get that. I'll get any questions gone unanswered. I will pose that question to our panelists, and once Jamie and Michael get back to me, I can send that answered any questions that haven't been answered today. So thank you very much, and look forward. Mark your calendars next month. We're going to start with some of the topics we've done. If you have a topic that you're burning to know about from your peers in the SaaS world, you can feel free to send me the topics and what questions you have, and we'll add those to the next Partner Perspective. Come up with third Friday in August, same time, same place, same SaaS number. Give us and we'll do another one. So thank you very much, and have a great day.